Hi there, it's Kim Marie, and I want to talk today about the power of intention. I talk a lot about energy. I talk a lot about flipping the magnet up and magnetizing versus deflecting. What does that mean, right? Well, we are truly co creators of our life. And whether we are aware or not, we are always using the power of intention. Sometimes it's outside of our awareness, it's in our subconscious. But there are core beliefs that we have, and they're usually debilitating beliefs that take us down. And so, having the awareness and having all these conversations that I'm having are bringing to your awareness how much power we really do have, and to illuminate those blind spots, because those blind spots are things that take us out of the game. They're things that are planted in our subconscious, kind of like a computer glitch. It's not who you are, it's not the truth, but it's an illusion, it's a belief that we have. And so, just for instance, expecting a negative response from someone you've had negative responses from in the past, right? So it's an expectation of not, you don't want to set yourself up to fail again. So there's a power of intention, that a negative one that's being sent, that's recreating that situation over and over again. We can go into that more, but right now I want to focus on positive intention. 2023 is just about here, and I want to talk about making a dream board. I've been making dream boards for over 20 years, and probably closer to 30 years. But 20 years ago, I remember making a dream board. I was at an event, and what a dream board is that you take pictures and quotes and ideas of the things that you want to bring into your life, right? So they may be things you already have, or they may be things, that you want more of. You want to be more abundant. You want to be have more freedom. You may want to have more harmony in your relationships, or specific things. But 20 years ago, and I remember this, it was exactly 20 years ago, I had made a dream board after making them for several years, and realized how non-specific they were. They were peace and yoga, and they were somewhat specific, but they weren't, I want to go on a trip to Florida, I want to go on a trip to Hawaii this year, I want to finish writing my book and having it published, like specific things. So this one year, I put on my dream board, and I realized, well, I looked at and thought, do I have issues with commitment? So I got really, really clear with myself. And at the time, I'm a single mom, and my children are in their teens, and I didn't have an excess of money. And I put down that I will go to Hawaii and California and Florida, which is random, but it's like I didn't have plans to go to any of them, nor did I have the money, resources, or anything like that. Also, in that year, I had decided for the new year, I was going to really step out of my comfort zone and look people in the eyes more, and smile, look into people's faces as we're walking by. I spent a lot of time going back and forth into New York City, and I noticed that a lot of people just looked down, or I know I did, right? Because there's a level of feeling awkward, there's a level of shyness that I have. Believe it or not, I have a very, very shy bone in me, and it takes a lot to put myself out there and to really be seen and engage. And at the same time, this is what I value most, is quality, deep relationships. So anyway, there's a reason, right? There's a core value there, so that was important for me. So I said, I'm going to really step it up, and I'm going to engage more. So that power of intention had just been put into place, and I had made the dream board. And then I was taking my son into New York to see a Broadway show, and I was just in a silly, giddy mood, and we were on the train going from Mattawan to New York City, and overheard these two men talking, and one of them was talking about going to, he was going to Hawaii. He had won a trip through his work, and he sold insurance, so high price, and he won a all expense paid trip to Hawaii. And he's going on and on about he didn't know who to take. He had gone on a date with this woman, and he was looking for the remote to shut her off. And I just listened. I could just overhear this whole conversation. And again, I was silly and giddy, and I stood up and I go, "Excuse me." I said, but if you want to take me to Hawaii, I'd be happy to go, and I'll just shut the hell up. And I just started giggling, and I sat back down. And I mean, everybody got a giggle out of it, right? So he says, no, we need to have a conversation about this. You can't just sit down. In the meantime, I was so embarrassed that I did that. And I said, well, just don't worry about it. Forget it. I'm only kidding. I was just in a silly mood. He's like, no, we need to have a conversation. So he stood up, he goes, look, I'm not intimidating. I'm not scary. He said, I'm just a boy that grew up in Matawan, New Jersey, and I went to Matawan High School. Well, that's where I went to high school. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So it turns out that he was a year behind me in high school. And now this is, again, 20 years ago. So I just thought, that's insane. So he said, we should at least have a conversation. We should at least get to know each other. I'd love to just take you out and get to know each other. And so my whole thing was that I couldn't possibly accept even think about it, because I don't know this person, number one, right? And I don't want to ever feel purchased. I don't want to ever feel like I owe somebody anything. And most important, like, to be in love, that means more than using somebody for something or feeling like I'm trying to get something, right? That's not what I'm about. I'm about deep quality relationships. Like, that's not at all what I'm about. And I, especially 20 years ago, was like, absolutely not. I don't want to trade love for this. So he's like, calm down. He's like, it's 2 months away. Let's just go on a date. So anyway, long story short, we end up dating and really falling. And in that 2 months, and I went on the trip. And believe me when I tell you, I tried so hard to talk myself out of it. Like, I just couldn't see how, which is how we can block ourselves. Here, the universe is saying, look, you put this out into the universe, and now you're not going to be willing to accept it, which is interesting because we do that. We can block that. And I've done that a lot in my life. If I look back on houses I've bought, it's like I find this dream home and then go, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe somebody else would be better. It's ridiculous, I know. But it's things to be aware of in ourselves. Anyway, I went and had the most amazing time. We got treated like royalty. I always joke and say, I am the pretty, pretty princess. I want to be treated like the pretty, pretty princess. Well, I got treated better than ever. I mean, we had every time we came back to the room, there were gifts on the bed and pillows. Like, this was a high, a big company thing, right, that they did that was just a big deal. And he didn't have to pay for anything. So it wasn't like I was taking advantage of him. He had already won it, and he had someone fun to now go with. And the agreement was that I had to do all the adventures that he had signed up for, which was so fun. I mean, we got to ride bikes up the volcano and go down at sunrise and go into the rainforest, and oh God, it was just so exciting and fun and free. All I did was put it on a dream board, not knowing how I would get it. And that is how the universe works. Now, conversely, we can also put out there that, oh, okay, things are going to fall apart, and we can do that. We can put a lot of focus on the negative, which is what ended up happening, right? Because I wasn't at the point in my life where I was so conscious of understanding it the way I do now, that after the week was over and we had a blast, we got along amazing. Everybody loved us, me, and accepted me, and all his coworkers were there. It was his CEO. We laughed so hard. I had this guy laughing. We had so much fun. But on the last day, I woke up with a pit in my stomach and just in tears, saying, "This is it. Now I know that it's, as if in my head I thought that it would be over after this, and it was. It pretty much scared him off. So I say that to say that things do happen for a reason, and all of that stuff, and all of it helps us grow and be conscious of what we're doing, how we're showing up, what we're creating. And it's being open to not only bring good in, but be able to receive it, and to be aware of the patterns in our thinking that allow us to keep bringing those negative things. Because if we have a pattern of negative relationships or situations where we feel used, or we don't feel appreciated, we don't feel valued, then there's a pattern there. There's a blind spot there. And in those 20 years, I've learned so much, and this is how I've helped so many people, right? So we just keep bringing the past and we keep recreating it into the future. So let's focus on what we want. Make dream boards. I made 5 of them for this year, right? So these are all going to go up on my around my window in my office. I have 2 big strips of wall that they're just going to go down my wall, so that every day I can look at. And what I did was put a lot of pictures. I put pictures, and I put words that really meant something to me. So it's all symbolism. It's what's going to ignite that and remind you of how powerful you are, how powerful of a creator you already are. So take the time to notice what you're doing, right? Because this life is flying by, it really is. And we get to choose the quality of our life. So let's do that. Let's make 2023 about focusing on all the things you want. And every time you go to think about something that on the news or something you want to post negatively, know that you're bringing that into your awareness, into your future, because your focus is on it. Okay? So let's think about where we're putting our energy, and let's focus it to the goal that we want to align with, not in default, and keep ending up tugging along your bag of garbage. So you have an amazing day. Love you lots. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.